Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to work on week 33 in my 2022 Project Life album. I'm going to use the August Studio Calico Documenter kit again. It was still sitting out on my desk from last week. This time I'm going to use the entire kit, not just the cards. The photos that I had this week were like a little bit, I don't know, kind of cozier. I mean, we're obviously still in the same season, so it's still spring, but we maybe had like a bit of a cooler week, so the photos are a little bit kind of cozier. So I thought it worked nicely with the kit. I'm just gonna quickly go through and pick out some cards. I kind of want to stick to those like warmer tones, but there is kind of like a pop of blue in this kit that I really love, and it works nicely with that kind of really big chunk of blue sky in my photo at the top there, because the rest of the photos are all like kind of darker and warmer toned. There is a black and white photo in there because it was just a bit of a crap photo, to be honest. So I made it black and white. Black and white fixes everything. And so all of those photos are kind of warm and cozy colored. So the cards work nicely, but you can see what happens when I put that little pop of blue in there. It just kind of brightens the whole thing up. So that's what I'm going for. I have got an entire 4x6 slot that I'm going to do some journaling in this week. I kind of knew before I started that I was going to use that particular journal card that it kind of lists. It says this morning, this afternoon, and this evening, and I thought it would be perfect for kind of a themed journaling this week, because it was a whole lot of like food related stuff that went on this week. So I thought that that would kind of work in there to kind of list off some of those things. But there wasn't really another 4x6 card that I liked as far as a title card went. So I went into my stash of Citrus Twist cards. These are all printables. They're either cards or they're papers. They're things that I print on a monthly basis and then don't use. They just go into my stash. Pulled out a few of those because there were a few colors in there that I thought worked with the kind of warm and coziness of this kit as well. And I'm going to use one that's a little bit lighter because I've got this kind of really big white expanse down the bottom here for the 4x6 journaling card. I kind of want to balance it out with the title card. Now, I was going to start with my title card, but before I get kind of too carried away, I figured I would go through some of the embellishments in the kit and see what I could and couldn't use. I wasn't like a mega fan of all of the little the die cut pieces. It's kind of a very like back to school themed kit, which is definitely definitely not on the agenda here. So I'm picking out kind of those more relevant ones, and I had better luck with the kind of chipboard shapes. They were a little bit more generic, so I'm going to add a couple of them. There was one that says my favorite memory. I've popped that onto the bottom of the photo of me and Lil, and then that make more that's a bit of a tongue twister, chipboard was blue. It had to go on the blue photo with my little cinnamon oyster cakes. I love that kind of tone on tone look. There was another chipboard that I wanted to use on this photo of me and Shane and Lil going for a walk, but I decided I wanted to add it with some of those cork stars, because otherwise what happens is if I don't use this now, those cork stars will go in my stash and they will sit in my stash for the next 5 or 6 years and I'll never use them because I very rarely pull out cork to use. So now it's now or never. I'm going to go big with the cork this week just to make sure I get that used up. But because I wanted to add one of these little cork stars on top of the chipboard, it would have been way too chunky to have the full height of the chipboard and then cork on top of that, especially in my little pockets. It will end up like pushing the card out of the pocket a little bit, so you're more likely to lose them that way. So I pulled as much of the backing off that chipboard as I could, so it's basically just flat on the photo now. And then I'm adding all of these little cork stars. I'm just using some smart glue from scrapbook.com. It does stick eventually, but you know me and liquid adhesive, I have to be really careful in the meantime. I've added 3, and you'll see I go a little bit bigger than that with the cork eventually, because I wanted to add it elsewhere on the spread, but I couldn't really find like just kind of a place that it made sense. So I've kind of left it for now. I'm going to carry on. I've got a couple of other photos in here. I pulled out the Rise and Shine die cut for my cup of coffee, which seems appropriate. And then I've got this other, my citrus twist box finally arrived. It got lost in the post, international shipping woes, and so that definitely deserved a place in the album. Now I'm going to go back to my title card, which was where I was at, just because I've got a little bit of an idea for the cork. So I'm going to go back and just build this title card, which is going to be super simple. Now these labels, I kind of love them. I'm not like mega into orange, as you will know. I'm trying to embrace all colors. Orange is still one of the ones that I struggle with. So this is, I'm going to call it like a really bright vermilion red. I'm putting that on to start with, and I used the ruler guide to try and get that as straight as possible. Just because this background card is a little bit kind of, the card's not wonky, but all of those little triangles on there's no straight lines anywhere, so there's nothing to kind of reference where the horizontal line is. I used the ruler guide because these are paper labels, and there was no way that that was going to peel off, especially on my home printed digital card there. So I got it really straight to start off with, and I used that as a shelf for my alphas. So only 1 week's worth of week on that alpha sheet, no numerals, so I'm going to stamp them using the lunar numbers from Citrus Twist 2. There are the solid and the outline. I decided just to go for the outline just so that it was a little bit lighter. I had thought that I would use my usual kind of, outline and filler stamp trick, but I stamped the 33 in Faded Jeans Distress Oxide, really liked the blue, liked how it looked, and I decided I wasn't going to fill it in. I was just going to leave it all kind of light and bright like that. So the last thing I need to do is add in my date stamping, and these labels are a little bit short. It wasn't going to fit my whole date stamp in there, so I'm just using some scrap paper just to mask that off so I can fit my 2 dates in there. I'm just missing the year, but it's blatantly obvious which year it is, so that's not an issue. And here's where I'm gonna go big with my cork stars. So usually I would add those sort of embellishments like the cork like that. I would try and add it in 3 spots around my spread. I love a visual triangle, so I'm often trying to do things in 3s, but instead what I'm going to do, it didn't really make sense on any of the other photos, so I didn't have the opportunity to do that kind of visual triangle. Instead, I'm going to run all of these stars along these top 2 4x6s, so my photo and my title card, and kind of make it like an element that's going to tie in the entirety of that top third of my page protector. So it's kind of a different take on what I would normally do. I did kind of struggle with where they're going to place them, but like I said, my point was to use as many as possible. So I was trying to add like 3 on each photo, and then I decided just to go for it. I'm going to put a horizontal line of cork all the way across the top of this page, making sure to add one on the sort of outermost edges as well, so it didn't look like they were just plonked in the middle. Now I've got one die cut that's still kind of hanging around down there. I couldn't really make it work. I really liked it, but I couldn't make it work on this particular photo. I'm going to add a chipboard shape on there instead, and then just run my journaling cards straight through my typewriter, which was a little bit messy. It was a little bit hard. These cards are quite thick, but I got there in the end, and that is my spread all done. I super enjoyed putting this week together. I kind of love how it turned out, and I really hope you enjoyed watching the video too. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye.